Good morning, everybody. Today's lecture is about finishing up your research papers. I have some steps for revision and editing to go over and a short MLA review. So let's get started. So first of all, you guys are so close to finishing your papers. Here we are, April 1st. So let's take a look. Yes, your paper is due on Monday. The paper was assigned February 17th. You've been working on your paper for over 6 weeks, and now it's time to wrap it up. I even pushed back the date a little bit, so no surprises. I'm going to go over your steps to completion, including some tips for revision and editing. If you don't remember my lecture on the difference between revision and editing, look back over your notes. Those are two different things. So, first, peer review. I emailed your peer review groups last week. Everyone should have an email. If you don't see your email, you need to let me know right now. The peer review responses are due tonight at midnight. The absolute last date I will accept them is this Friday at midnight. After that, I'm not going to take them. On your peer review, make sure you're using constructive criticism. Read the comments and questions that your classmates gave you. Respond to them, ask them questions. If you're confused on some feedback, let them know. Ask them about it. You can also ask me. And I put together this beautiful clip art group. Look how well this group communicated. They're ready to submit. But there's a couple more things they're going to do. For some great tips on the revision process, especially the last stages of revision, take a look at pages 416 to 418 in your textbook, Everything's an Argument. Here are some things to consider. You want to look at style and tone, right? So you've already done all the big research, you have formulated your arguments, so now you're going to take a closer look at language. With your language, you want to be clear and direct. You want to think about denotative and connotative language. You want to minimize your use of first person. You want to make sure your language is efficient, right? That you're getting to the point that you're not using a lot of unnecessary words. Finally, you want to check for uses of colloquial language, slang, contractions. You want to make this more formal, right? This is a formal research paper. Additionally, think about the genre that you're writing in. Are you writing a proposal? Are you writing a definition style argument? Think about who your audience will be and what tone you want in order to get your argument across, right? If it's something that you think people might react strongly to, maybe you want to be more conciliatory using the Rogerian common ground style argument. On the other hand, maybe you think this is a very urgent matter that you're writing about and you want people to act now. You might use more assertive language in an argument like that. You are welcome to use visuals that enhance and are necessary. Don't use unnecessary visuals. Always cite any visuals that you include. If you have a chart or a graph, you've got to tell us where that came from. When you have a completed draft, you want to reflect on it before you submit it. This is something that I need every student to remember. You have to look at your paper before you turn it in. Things that you can do to make sure that your argument makes sense. You can try a reverse outline. You can look at your paper and then make an outline from what you've written and see if there's any gaps in what you've written. You want to think about the effectiveness of your overall argument. Am I getting across the point that I want to make? And you want to check every paragraph. Is it referring back to the thesis? Is it making the point that you're trying to make? Look at the feedback from your peer review. You can ask your classmates for clarity. All of these things are intended to help you write the best paper you can. Okay, so now you've revised. You might want to get last-minute input on your paper. You can ask a friend or family member to read your draft. Sometimes they'll catch things that are just a little bit confusing, but you want to ask them for big picture help. I generally advise against getting friends to edit for grammar unless you know that they're a grammar genius. The CWC is still offering tutoring and writing help online. If you want their help, you need to do that today. They have online booking and a phone number you can call and you can get an appointment, but you want to do that right away because you don't have that much time. You can also schedule an appointment with me today or Friday or Monday. This is not required, And obviously I won't be able to meet with everybody, but if you want to talk through your paper with me, you can schedule an appointment. Remember that I don't read papers via email. I've got too many students, so I'm sorry. Okay, so now that you've got a pretty good final draft, you want to edit. Look back over your ideas, look at transitions between paragraphs and between sentences. You want to look at your paragraph structure, especially go back and look at the Toolman logic section in your book. That might help you make sure you're going from claim and examples to explanation. You're also going to focus on the big picture. Is this making sense overall? Spell check your papers. The red squiggly lines usually mean you need to spell check your papers. I don't know how many times I get papers that I can see the red squiggly line and it makes me crazy. Don't ignore it. Check your punctuation, your quotation marks, your commas, your apostrophes, etc. And then check your citations. Are you being consistent? Do the citations match the works cited page? I'm going to go over that in a little bit more detail in just a moment. Remember that with editing, the appearance of your paper contributes to your credibility. So if it looks like you took the time to check the margins and the spacing, then it says to your reader that you really took the time to hone in on what makes your argument work well and that you take the appearance of your essay seriously. After you've done all that, you'll submit your final draft. Make sure it's a Google document. You're going to submit it on Google Classroom. Make sure that you click Turn In. Yes, you do need this reminder. Okay, so those are my last steps to revising. I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about MLA now. Okay, so here are some final MLA reminders. You guys have seen this before. I'm going to include this PowerPoint in my post today. This presentation goes over formatting your paper, using in-text citations, and documenting your sources. I'm going to go through it pretty quickly because we've been doing this, so buckle up. First and foremost, always follow your instructor's guidelines, right? My guidelines are use MLA. Other than that, make sure you're using Times New Roman 12-point font. It is just my preference. It makes it easier for me to grade. Since we're submitting digitally, it's very easy to make sure that you're using white paper. Make sure you double space. Use 12-point Times New Roman. Don't use a similar font, just use that one. Only hit the space bar once after periods. Set the margins to 1 inch on all sides and indent first lines of paragraph 1/2 of an inch. This should be done using the tab key. Make sure you have a header with page numbers in the right-hand corner. Titles of large works are in italics. And don't worry about endnotes. We haven't really done that in here and we won't be using them. Here's a sample first page. Make sure yours is just as beautiful. We've got the header right here with the name, professor's name, course, and date. And we've got your last name and page number here. There's a title, right? Don't forget a title. And then the first paragraph's indented 1/2 of an inch, not some random number of spaces. In-text citations. This is where you explain to your readers where your information has come from. It should take them directly to the works cited list. It should be unobtrusive, and generally it will be the author's last name. If there is no last name, then you use the title. Otherwise, last name and page number. If there's no page number, you just leave it out. Here's an example. This is from a book. Got the author's last name and page number here. In this first sentence, they've used the author's last name in the sentence, and then the page number's at the end. And then in the last one, it's not a quote, but it's still a paraphrase. We've got the author's last name in the sentence and the page number at the end. If you do not know the author, if there is no author's name, then you use the title. Okay, when you're formatting the works cited page, remember those basic elements that need to be included. You've got the author, the title, the container, contributors, version, number, publisher, date, and location. These are the core elements. Now, there are other pieces of information that you can include, including The database title, that's counted as another container, and it would come after the publication date, before the location. There's also the date of access, which would generally come after the location. Here is a basic example of an article from a journal. We've got the author, the title, the container, volume, number, date, and then because this was a print source, the location is the page number. So I have the Purdue OWL website pulled up right here. I often direct you guys to this for more help with MLA citations. If you look at the website, it's owl.purdue.edu. It has everything that you need to know about MLA format. If you look on the left-hand side in the list of information, they have the in-text citation basics here, which kind of goes over all of the different scenarios that you might have to include. It gives you advice on formatting your quotations. If you're not sure, it's right here. Short quotes, longer quotes, right? Remember, when it's 4 or more lines of your paper, then you make it a block quote. This is what it should look like. And then it has every possible works cited page format that you could possibly need. The basic format, and then how to format a book, a periodical, and electronic source. Most of your sources are electronic, so if you go straight to this page, it gives you that breakdown of the kind of different types that you might need to use, right? You may require a little bit of scrolling, but it's all there for you. Okay, that's all I have for you today. Know that on Google Classroom, we'll have a discussion board on Friday. So pay attention to the directions on that. It will be a small grade. I think that's all that I have for you right now. Get in touch. Email me if you have any questions. I hope that you guys are doing okay. See you soon.